So with that, we could transition to the rest of the stories, and the rest of the stories are sponsored by 256heat.com. And if you're looking to mine Bitcoin and heat your home, there's no better place to do it, especially if you're in Canada, because these folks here are located in Southern Ontario. Joey and I recently got a unit each, and we are heating areas of our homes with this. And at the same time, through that, we are mining Bitcoin. And it's using S19s that are plugged into the 110 volts. So you don't have to have a fancy setup. You just basically need 1,000 watts, 1,400 watts, 700 watts, whatever system you want to put up there. And if you're going to be heating your home this winter, if you have an area of the house that's cold and you're going to be using electricity to do it, you might as well use one of these devices, because in that way you could earn Bitcoin KYC free and have it sent directly every day to your Lightning wallet. Check them out, 256heat.com. They are great. The units themselves are quiet. I wish I could show it to you. Mine's in the garage right now, but Joey's unit, he has his behind, and it doesn't really impact his setup. So you don't even fucking hear it. So anyways, they're the best in the game. Check them out. Now, with that being said, Jackson Hole. Let's talk about Jackson Hole, because that took place this past week. And I'm going to be very quick about this, because when it comes to this kind of stuff, I really, it impacts me, but I don't really care, because I can't do anything. It just happens regardless of however I think. I can't will it into a different direction. It just happens. So Jerome Powell, by the way, I just want to point out, he looked disheveled in the photo just before the meeting. There was a photo of him getting off the plane. He had his carry-on. He was lugging around, and it looked like he was fucking flying coach, or he just exited coach and flying with the rest of these fucking peasants like us. Like, these guys, they could fucking create money to thin air, and you're forcing this guy to fly fucking coach. Give me a fucking break. Anyways, must have been a rough flight. So after the meeting, it looks like there's indication that rate cuts may be coming. Great. And once he said that, at least hinted at that, it was, this is a signal that the Fed is shifting their monetary policy. No commitment yet, but fucking there was an immediate reaction. Bitcoin went up. Like, it's amazing that this guy could get up there, could say a few things, hint at something, and boom, markets move. Oh, come on, man. Like, does this guy have that much power? Yes, he does. Does he need this much power? No fucking way. But he's talking about the same old stuff, like labor market, employment, shit like that. It's going to be driving the decision moving forward. This guy, he is on his way out. There's no, he's not going to be renewed. Trump doesn't like him, even though he's the one that appointed him. He wants the rates cut. This guy's refusing to cut rates. Who's right? I don't give a fuck, to be honest. I'm not sure if you have any insight you want to put in this one.
No, I don't give a fuck either.
I see, we're on the same page. I like it. We're on the same page. Like,
I mean, it's I don't know. It
impacts us.
Yeah.
But like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck can I do? Like, it's
yeah,
great to chat about it. That's it.
It does, but I mean, it impacts us in a negative way. I mean, we're going to, well, I guess negatively, when they print all this, or more money, or they release more money, or people gamble more or take more risks. But yeah, it's the weirdest. It's like a sketch show. You see when Trump was down in the looking at the Federal Reserve renovations, and he was like, was it 3.2 billion? He was like, no, it's and it's like Laurel and Hardy, like it's something, something out of a sketch show. So yeah, I think when Jerome Powell gets the can or leaves, and it looks like he's trying to stick it to Trump, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, in a way he does. He's trying to stay to the bitter end and do it on his own terms, not bow down to any wishes of changing rates. Do it the way he wants to do it. Is that being stubborn? Is he doing it to the detriment of the country? I don't know.
I think Jerome Powell it seems like he's not the worst of them. He's not like some of the other guys, but and maybe he's just trying to do the right thing, and Trump's trying to strong arm him, or obviously trying to strong arm him. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't impact me too much. I don't really give a fuck.
Intel. Let's talk a little bit more about them. This is a story I touched upon a few times already. Now, this is basically what happened. the U.S. government is getting involved with ownership of Intel. They now own a 10% stake of the country. Sorry, the company, not the country, the company. 10% stake of Intel is what the U.S. government owns. And they got this deal that was done because they were converting grants into equity. And the grants were coming from the CHIPS Act. So they had this act and money was going to be sent over, government involvement. And they said, you know what? We'll get some stake in the company. Okay. And it's an interesting way of using taxpayers' money. Because let's be honest, that money could have been spent anywhere else. It could have been spent on maintaining bridges, improving healthcare, paying off debt, wherever the fuck it is. But in this case, they decided, you know what, we're going to buy 10% of Intel. All right. So now the state has direct ownership in a publicly traded company. This happens periodically. We had the same thing happen when there was a bailout in GM and Chrysler, or what the fuck it was called at the time. And so but they eventually they got rid of their shares. This case, I don't know what the fuck their long-term plan is to keep this. It's an $8.9 billion investment, and 433 million shares were purchased or somehow sent to U.S. government. And if I was a competitor to Intel, if I was an NVIDIA, if I was an AMD, this type of news, this would piss me off to no end. Is now you're getting the most powerful government in the world, the one that can control markets. They fucking control the NASDAQ, can control the New York Stock Exchange, the flow of money, valuation of companies, the way money is basically given out to companies through debt creation and shit like that. They fucking now own that. Like, I would be fucking irate if I was AMD. I'd just be fucking pissed. Like, I'd be looking, this is definitely the wrong way of doing things. The U.S., through all this, right, at least right now, they don't have any seats on the board or any voting rights. But this could change. And if they do, this is Soviet Union style stuff. Right? Like, it's maybe not to that degree, but it's a step in that direction. State ownership of a company. And it's not like it was given to them. There was some backroom deal to do this. Right? And are they going to end at 10%? Do they want more? They obviously they want to have some stake in this, maybe for defense or like, who the fuck knows? There's a long-term plan here. I don't know what it is, but the state owning a company, this rubs me the wrong way. I don't know about you. Like, what do you think about this?
Nationalization of companies has never gone well for too many companies, as far as I know. And especially in that sort of sector where it's, innovation based. You know, yeah, I know what you're saying where they don't have seats on the board, but surely there'll be some influence there. Um, but I don't know if I would say it's a bad thing for Intel, really. I'd like to know how much Nancy Pelosi had in it, and how much info she had, or if she bought any stocks beforehand. I'm sure she did. Maybe I shouldn't label her. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But
No, but somebody within Congress or in the Senate, because you're right. A lot of times, people that are elected officials, it's noticed after the fact that they purchased into a company before the news came out, and somehow, at least the perception is, I'm not saying this happens, I'm trying to not get myself sued here. The perception is it looks like they used inside information to obtain this and buy in on the cheap. And yes, I'd love to see in 6 months, a year from now, a year and a half from now, when disclosure is then released, who the fuck bought in before this took place and how much. Because if they did, answers need to be given and potentially heads should roll. But you know what happens? No heads roll, no answers are provided, and we just continually go on. It's a two-tiered system, right?
oh yeah, but
You fucking do this shit, you go to jail. They do this. You get reelected. Get the fuck out of here.
yeah. But I mean, what do you think? Like 10%, it's not a massive stake, but do you think that is that going to have a massive influence on Intel, like influence to get money?
I don't know. Did they need this? Did they need this type of partnership? Did they need, like, what's the advancement here from Intel? Like, what are they getting from this type of partnership? Are they better off today than they were a week ago?
Yeah,
I can tell
I
you
don't
their
know.
competitors aren't. Their competitors
They
are in a worse position. right? If I
Yeah.
was an investor of Nvidia, would I say, oh, I'm gonna just dump more money in this company, or would I say, what, maybe it's time to start reducing my position just based off this move by the U.S. government? This is a very powerful, very powerful position they got in. I don't know.
Yeah.
And see, Boomdas is saying
Yeah.
he's saying
Yeah.
that look,
Sorry. Go.
they're just basically money for nothing. Sorry, money, and they're getting stuff in return rather than typically what they do is they get nothing in return for the money. Great. So it may be some benefit here, but let's not overlook the fact that it's now a partially owned by the state. I think that's something for me at least, I don't know why I can't overlook that particular point, but for me, it rubs me the wrong way. Taxpayers paid for this thing. They could, they now that they got direct ownership of a company. What the fuck they want to deal with this company? They want services. They want healthcare. They want roads to be free of potholes. They don't want fucking bums in the street. They don't want fucking ownership of Intel. Like this is not something a government should do. This is, to me, it's the outside the purview of what a government should be doing. It's
Yeah.
it's not providing.
John's saying in the chat that they need chips for manufacturing in the US for defense purposes. That's probably a
Fair.
good. Yeah.
Fair, yeah, and yeah, I touched on that. There could be some defense play situation here, but still, I don't know. I just look at this. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just irate about this, and I'm not even a U.S. citizen, and I'm fucking irate about this. But whatever.
Yeah,
It
and I'm
is what
sure
it
they're
is.
cycling money from defense companies or defense contracts into Intel, and there'll be some backhanders, some way of allegedly, you know, laundering money some way.
The There's this interesting story in Canada that I want to talk about, and it's this homeowner. His name is Jeremy David McDonald. And this guy was charged with aggravated assault and assault with a weapon for injuring somebody. There was an intruder that broke in his apartment. So it's happened 3 a.m. And what he did, Mr. McDonald, he decided to deal with the intruder. He actually used a kitchen knife and he harmed the intruder, Michael Kyle Breen. And so what happened in the scuffle? Some serious life-threatening injuries were received by Breen, the intruder, and he was airlifted to a hospital, to Toronto Hospital. So the gist of it, dude broke in his house, got his ass handed to him, and the guy who owns the house that had his house broken into was arrested because he basically defended his property, his livelihood, everything. And on top of this, the thief, Breen, he was wanted for unrelated offenses. So he doesn't have a clean past. He was wanted for shit like charged with multiple crimes, breaking and entering, shit like that. And this guy, McDonald, ends up getting charged. Like, I don't know, man. You see stories like this, and it makes you wonder what the fuck is going on. And on top of this, these laws, somebody was posting on X that these laws were changed a little over a decade ago under Harper's watch. And during that watch, they made it so that if you are to defend yourself, you could be potentially charged. So
Yeah.
imagine that this was done under Harper's regime. Like that's fucked up. And now you have Poliev talking about this. He was part of that government. Like everybody has blood in their hands here. Like this is, I don't know. Like you hear a story like this, if
Yeah.
somebody breaks in your house, what the fuck you do? You have free reign.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Take it.
Yeah, it's all
But I
yours.
mean,
Come on.
it goes back to the the stories earlier on. I think it was earlier on this year with all the carjackings in Toronto, and they were just saying, right, just take
Oh
them.
yeah.
Just don't resist. If somebody comes to jack your car or somebody breaks into your house to take it, just let them take it. Like it's crazy because what the police can't defend you or can't get there in time. But this is not the first time this has happened. I mean, I
Yeah.
think when you and I talked before, there was a guy in the UK, a farmer. I remember it from growing up in Ireland in 1999. The guy, he owned the farm, and two guys broke in, and he killed one, shot the other, or injured the other, and he went to jail for 8 years for defending his farm. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Laws should be modernized and give the person that is owning the home that their life is threatened. They should have the ability to apprehend and even stop. And if there's any, if you do some harm, hey, fuck, this wouldn't have happened if the guy didn't break in the first place,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's be honest. This wouldn't have happened. Like, what's the problem here? Is the guy that performed a crime initially was the fucking aggressor. If he just didn't do it, like,
Where's the stand your ground law? Is that America?
it might be. I've never heard of it, so it
The
potentially
stand your
is.
ground law. Let me just check. Uh,
Boom Dust is interesting. No, sorry, Boom Dust. We're not going to talk about that cancellation just because of the parties involved, and yeah, we'll leave it at
Yeah,
that.
it's primarily in the U.S. So legal principle primarily in the U.S. that removes the duty to retreat from an attacker and allows an individual to use responsible force, including deadly force, to defend themselves from perceived serious harm.
Is that
So
Florida? Boom Dust is saying Florida, so could be
is
specific
it?
to that state.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe it
know.
is. It says 7 states have enacted stand your ground laws, but yeah, that I mean. Oh shit! If you have kids in the house, even if you don't have kids in
Yeah,
the house, if you're on your own, I mean, like, and someone comes in, you should take, what if they have a gun or if they have something like, are you not allowed to shoot back? Or it's you should be allowed to protect your home. That's all you have.
and beyond that, what if you have like a pit bull, for instance, and there's no laws for you not owning a pit bull, you're operating within the confines of the law. The dog is trained and everything, and somebody breaks in, and the dog just absolutely snaps, and it goes after that intruder, and it maims slash kills the person. Now, is the dog going to be put down? Is the dog owner going to be charged? Like, I'd love to see something like that play out and see what would be the end result of that. I guess bullshit. It's total
I'm
bullshit.
sure there's cases before where criminals have sued homeowners for getting injured for coming in and out of their homes. Like, say they break a window and cut their hand or whatever, and they've sued and won. Like, again, uh, I'll Google that, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Anyway, let's talk about another interesting story. In Toronto, they're going through a financial shortfall, just like every other city. But Toronto's mayor, Olivia Chow, went out there this past week and she was saying that the city is looking at $107 million shortfall for 2025 because the federal government is not putting up enough money for funding the refugee support system. And she says the federal government's interim housing assistance program is only covering 26% of what the city anticipates spending on shelter costs for refugees and asylum seekers. And this number has been going down over time. Historically, they reimbursed up to 95% of the city expenses. Now it's 26%. And the shortfall, let's be honest, they have had they've made a number of different decisions of spending money probably the wrong way in Toronto. And I could give you an example. Young Dundas Square was recently renamed to Sankofa Square. I pronounced that right, Sankofa. Anyways, they renamed this. Depending on estimates, was between $300,000 and $800,000 to rename it.
Change the signs.
Sankofa, to change the signs and PR and all this bullshit. So, and that's a huge range because you can't really find the exact estimate here, what it is. But, we'll say $500,000. We'll go kind of in the middle. And why did they choose this name, Sankofa Square? Sankofa. Like, why? They could have been a lot of better names, like maybe Terry Fox Square, right? Frederick Banting. This is the Canuck that was behind penicillin and the mass production of it, right? There's so many names and
Yeah.
he did it at University of Toronto, so it's a local connection. There's so many people you could have chosen that have either direct connection with Toronto, Canada. There's countless names. They chose this. So I understand there's a huge shortfall from this housing assistance program, but Toronto is doing a poor job of managing the money they do have. In fact, this past summer, the Pride Parade was going through their own financial hardship because there was corporations bailing out for a number of different reasons, and Toronto decided to give a little bit more money to the Pride Parade. You just can't keep giving money away. You can't keep renaming these fucking squares. Money doesn't come from the fucking sky. You run out eventually. You can't. You could raise the taxpayers. You could like more money from homeowners, like property tax or residential, commercial, what the fuck. But eventually they say no. They say enough is enough. You guys got to deal with what you fucking have. I see this. This is sad, but fuck, you guys aren't doing a good job to spend your money as it is right now. Like fuck you. Olivia Chow, Joey would have fucking went nuts in this. By the way, he's a huge Olivia Chow supporter. I'm just kidding. I have ally of Frady Square, 100% Boom Dusk. I would have fucking supported that. He's a former hockey player for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But yeah, like I'm not sure if you have anything you want to say about this fucking story here.
Did they not? They changed. I thought they changed all this. Was it Dundas Street? They changed all the signs as well, or they were planning to do that, and they even spent like hundreds of thousands planning to do it, not even doing it.
Consultations. Yeah.
Yeah, consultations and stuff. So, yeah, like I mean, I I did work for the city of Toronto, and I know the massive inefficiencies and where they spend their money, and it's ridiculous. Like, and the problem that now is, that she's looking for the federal government to bail them out, and that's coming from every other Canadian. So I mean, you're Canadian paying taxes in Edmonton or Winnipeg or whatever, and that's it's going to pay Olivia Chow's, topping up of the Pride Parade or whatever, changing street names. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I listened to Dave Bradley and Francis had a podcast, I think, a couple of days ago, where he was talking about the independent Alberta movement. I don't know if you watched that, but I mean, what he's saying is right, and I've heard this a few times since, actually, in a couple of different places. But where Alberta's giving money that are topping up Quebec's finances, federally, when it goes into that big pool, and then they're paying for pylons in Montreal, and it's kind of the same thing where you know uh, that money, who knows where that money's going to. And Montreal is a disaster to get around, and Toronto is a disaster to get around as well. The infrastructure crumbling, like, yeah, it's I don't know. How do you fix it though? That's the big problem. Where do you start to fix it?
That's a great question.
How would you do it?
Start from the top, get rid of all the fucking council and fucking mayors. Let's get some, and whatever money comes in, deal with what you have. It's not about virtue signaling. It's not about doing shit that feels good. It's about the nitty gritty. You have roads that are pathetic. You have infrastructure like pipes. They're fucking bursting all the fucking time because there's not
Gardner,
enough
yeah.
maintenance. The Garner, it's falling apart because it's fucking ancient and it's so much salt over the years and shit. Like, they're gonna have to eventually tear that down, and when they do, it's gonna be a bigger disaster than what it is now. So you have all these problems that just need, and it's just you gotta fucking funnel all this money into this. Grant, like, and there's gonna be some waste in there. Fine, just focus on that shit, and the rest don't even fucking bother. It doesn't make sense. Renaming something, fuck it. that's something. It's a nice to have, but we don't need it today. Maybe in 500 years we could talk about it, but definitely not today. That's the way I'd fucking deal with it. You prioritize shit, and it's a thing that just, if it doesn't fucking work, if it adds no value whatsoever to make somebody's life easier from getting from A to B quicker, it's not even included. Fuck you. Back of the list. See you later.
Yeah, but the thing is that a political play by Olivia Chow to pander to people who are voting for her, to keep her in longer, because they see these political stunts, and they see her providing money to pride parades and different
Yeah.
organizations, but they don't see the aging infrastructure under the ground. They don't see kind of temporary solutions, or and even operating costs for electrical or waste services or whatever. Like, they don't see that, so it's not really that big a deal to her. Do you think that's the cause? That's what she's trying to do, is keep herself reelected?
Yeah, well, these 4-year election cycles certainly isn't helping whatsoever. And let's be honest, they're getting chauffeured around from A to Z. It's not like they're in on the TTC on the subway, elbows to elbows with fucking peasants that fucking reek, and you also have to deal with drug addicts, fucking drunk shit like this.
Needles. Yeah.
Right, and then now they're putting fucking cops over there and mental health police and shit like that. Like it's getting to a point where you don't want to fucking take the TTC. It's been like this for years. Today it's even worse than it was yesterday. And tomorrow's going to be worse than it is today. How could you provide this level of service to people? Then it fucking delays. People jump on the fucking tracks because of mental health issues, and nobody could get to work that morning. Like it compounds. And so doing all this other shit that is trying to pander to folks to try to get elected again, fuck you. It does nothing to help the common individual out there that, like I said, wants to get from A to Z, from home to work and work to home, as quick as possible, as painless as possible, without dealing with the bullshit. And that's what we should be fucking focusing on, is trying to improve people's lives as much as possible. That's what it is.
Totally.
And how do you do that? Like, you don't need roads that fucking have problems. You don't need subways to have problems. You like, fuck, man.
But people keep voting for for that, and John Tory didn't do much either when he was in power. I mean, he again, he was on breakfast TV most of the time. Like, he wasn't, I didn't see him doing much either. He pandered a lot as well.
Agreed. He had his pants around his ankles. He was having fun with one of his staffers, I believe what it was. Allegedly, I don't know what the fuck the story is, but like, come on. Anyways, two more stories.
Do you know? Sorry, before you go there, development charges in Toronto. I heard this statistic today, right? So if you're building a house in Winnipeg, I think development charges are like $1,500. If you're building a house, like say you get a greenfield where you can build 300 houses or single family homes in Toronto, development charges are 300,000. So like, that's unbelievable cost difference, and where that's going to, and that's going right into, that's it's supposed to be spent by the city of Toronto government, or the municipal government, or and what are they doing with that money? That money's being pissed up the wall somewhere. So it's an awful, and anyway.
And if you look at the subway system, I don't know how many new stations were built in the past 10, 15, maybe 5 stations, whatever the fuck it was. You go to China, they build tens of thousands of kilometers like in a few years. Here, there's consultation, all this fucking bullshit, just to get a fucking, and it's $1 billion a kilometer. If you stand in the way of a fucking any sort of progress, you become part of the fucking pavement. You either move or it gets fucking done. They don't deal with any bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to have progress, sometimes you have to just fucking push your way around and say, we're going to get shit done. Like, we want subways to rake the city. Let's get this fucking thing done. It would help so much to move around people, move around. Like, you go to any big city in China, it's incredible. Like, I look at the maps, I've never traveled, but the public transit system over there, oh my God, it looks modernized and it's clean and it fucking works. You go to Toronto, you get 2.5 lines. The fuck is this?
Yeah, and you're waiting on trams all the time, and there's always delays, and even some of the projects I remember, they would do the design for 3-4 years, all the moving utilities, planning to move utilities, and then they would get to the stage where they would have to buy the trains, and the trains would be out, or Bombardier would be, screwing around, or they'd be out like an inch or 2 inches or whatever. And next thing you know, you have to change everything again. It's delays. And it's like Toronto, the whole transit system is a bit of a joke worldwide, I think.
And it will remain that for a long fucking time. We're gonna do nothing to fix that.
Yeah,
we'll do one more story. I was going to talk about. Well, I'll just really quick, the Maple Ridge, BC story, where the dumping disposal company was found. Let's see, what's the name of it? Where the fuck the name of this company is? Just Be Gone Disposal. They found that they were just dumping the garbage on the side of the road over there. The owner was Sarge Dhaliwal, was saying one of the employees went rogue and just decided to dump the shit illegally over there. Love that stuff. Bring it on. Love to see it. Anyways, last story. We can talk about elbows, because it's a good time to talk about elbows, because Prime Minister Mark Carney announced this past week that Canada is dropping many of the retaliatory tariffs on American goods, and the move takes into effect September 1st. So it's still a week ish away. I'm not sure when September 1st is, and it's 1 week today. And so yeah, there we go. So it's those counter tariffs are going to be a thing of the past. They were first imposed by former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. So yeah, love to see this capitulation. I don't know.
So turns out he wasn't standing up to Trump. Is that what this all kind of?
The way he said it, he said there's a like he used the hockey game reference. He says there's a time in a game when you got to go into the corners and have your elbows up, and there's times in the games you just have to stick handle with the puck. And he says now it might be the time to stick handle around. So it looks like elbows no longer are up, and it's going to a different part of the game where they have to try to find a different way to solve this problem. It's not going to be just about I have tariffs, you have tariffs. It looks like they want to get to the table. At least Carney wants to get to the table and try to have some sort of agreement without pissing anybody off. He got elected on this, right? This is the thing he was elected on, right? He was the one who was going to stand up to Trump, and here we are.
Yeah, like Boom Dust said, it is. I think it's all theater. Like all this is, it's a dance that they were going to do, and you know, he was always going to capitulate. I think, you know, and maybe it's pre-planned. Maybe they had it discussed before. I'm not sure, but Carney's benefit him. I'm pretty sure in the back end.
I have nothing else to say about this because this is just a
And the thing
story.
is, huh?
I found it an interesting story, but I think I'm exhausted from this whole topic, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, I mean, go on. We were saying?
No, I was going to say that the thing is, a lot of the and listen, I'm, you know, apolitical. I guess. I mean, um, I, I, I vote for whoever I think is going to be more beneficial for Bitcoin and beneficial for my family and my friends in the long term. But and the thing is, as there's a saying in Irish actually, most of those guys, it's a different cheek of the same arse, as they say. And it's the same. They're out for themselves, and
I
they're
want it in
playing the
Gaelic.
game. Sorry,
I want it in Gaelic.
Gaelic? No, not for me. I was born in Britain,
Fair enough.
but yeah. So I don't put any faith in anything those guys say, but whatever. It's
Yeah.
just me.
All right. I think that's basically it for this show. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and just want to thank Dan from the Canadian Bitcoin Conference for stepping in for Joey, who's obviously on the mend. He's got his knee redone today. So, Dan, did you enjoy your time with us or with me today?
Very much so. Yeah, it's always fun to chat, and feels like we're having beers.
That's the way I always want to have it to be done. Like it's just a couple of guys just chilling out. And I just want to say a big thank you to you because you're staying up very late. Don't want to say where you are, but it's much later than it is where I am right now. So thanks a lot
Yeah,
for
it's
coming
okay.
in, man.
I do it, no problem.
All right, brother. Any last words before we sign off?
No, all good.
Talk about the
Well,
Bitcoin
I guess
conference.
I
Talk about
guess
the
I
Canadian
gotta
Bitcoin.
plug. I gotta plug the conference. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we just announced we have actually a really cool thing, a Bitcoin for Business workshop, which is happening. So the intent there is to have business owners and people who are making decisions that are interested in Bitcoin. They want to learn in a good space. We've brought together the Bill Bitcoin guys and um, uh, John Tellis and Andrew Klubine from Generatio and John Mongal from Fortress and other people as well. So and actually BTC Mentor involved. So giving the hopefully the business community some Bitcoin element or Bitcoin learning element. So that'll be a really fun one. That's happening the day before the 16th of the conference. The hockey game as well. I don't know
Oh
if anybody's out
yeah.
there, any of the Americans listening. We really need some American support, so we're trying to incentivize those guys to come. But
Screw them. They
yeah,
won last year. They had that ringer.
yeah, Brandon Gentile, and he
Yeah.
was I don't know. I don't know what the A1 hockey player or something.
Whatever.
Uh,
Apparently he was on the ice the whole time, and they just fed him the puck, and he did his magic.
yeah,
So I think it's time we have to go to the OHL, one of the higher ranks over here. Not quite professional, so we don't have to pay them big dollars, but we could just get some a couple of ringers that are quote unquote Bitcoiners and kick their ass. So
yeah. I was
yeah.
trying to find out who the Bitcoiners actually. There's a uh, Trevor Kaverko who works with Sonny Ray now. He does a lot of stuff outside of Bitcoin, let's say. Um, but he played in the NHL as far as I know. So and I don't know if didn't play for Toronto. I think he played for. I can't remember. I read his story one time, but yeah, I think he would be a good hockey player to come. Maybe we could bring Mark Carney. Yeah, Mark Carney for Nets for the American. Very good.
He was part of the Oxford team. Anyways, just one last word before I sign off. Joey did message me just right now. He says good as can be. So it looks like the surgery was a success, and he is
Good to
on the
hear.
mend. So yeah, so he'll
He'll be
probably be.
squatting in no time.
Yeah, he was squatting up until recently, even after the injury. And I'll be back on Wednesday with Nobi Caribou, aka Nick. And with that, take care and don't be a cock.
See you later.